Hello everybody and welcome back to Camel Kingdom and to Fortress Camelot. We are already in episode number 6. We are making good progress and you might be wondering why this is out on Monday, but for those of you who've been listening carefully the last few episodes, they will know that I try to push them out now as quickly as possible, just because of obviously the DLC, which will be out tomorrow, so obviously we will have a look at this tomorrow as well. But for the moment, this is just purely for the situation that we need to bring out the episodes, because otherwise it will be pretty boring for you to watch old stuff. But without further ado, let's talk about the episode. Let's talk through some comments, as always, of the last episode. Again, thanks you guys for all the comments. It does really, it's so cool. It really helps me out a lot, and very personal, right? I just enjoy giving you answers to those comments, just enjoy browsing through them. I enjoy just listening to them, reading through them. That's what I wanted to say. And yeah, it's just very, very nice. But first of all, let's start with the comment of Nanoblast Inc. I guess it's projecting the name. I hopefully spelled it correctly. There are videos on YouTube labeled as education that contain less education than this one. Thank you, mate. This seems to be a very nice, some very nice words of you. Even though I have to say there is a lot of crap education on YouTube, so we might not want to go for this one. But anyways, we have also some interesting ones from what the deal with the I can't even read that name because it's too long for the display. I guess what the deal with the white people, I guess it is. And he said, you should make some cards with like corp backs in them. Well, I answered, or potentially flaw, because I don't want to have dead people in a theme parkish area. But the idea of having some cards standing around is pretty awesome, to be honest. Then we have a very interesting one. I also answered to this one, and this is also the episode where we have to talk about this one. And also, what you can see in the background right now is exactly the same. What's referring to this comment, and now his comment it's from C.WMson. Great video as always, but in the building you built, I noticed that you used wood on the very bottom of the building. You probably wouldn't see this because if the woods start to decay, and obviously also weathering, then the entire building will collapse. This would work, especially because this wouldn't work, especially because you added all of the stone on top of the building. Sorry to be this type of person, but you might just want to change that. Since these episodes have been recorded way before your comment, I can completely, how's the English word for it again? I'm very confident to say I already planned that way ahead, and as you can see, I already added some stone at the very bottom. In all honesty, this was always planned on both buildings. I just wanted to make the wood beforehand, since we have a little bit of interior design as well for the right hand side where you can go through, and this little restaurant part of it. I just wanted to have some wood inside the building and stone outside, but I wanted to build the wood beforehand before we kind of finished the building on the outside world. So I just took the time to do it in the next episode. And for you guys it seems to be 2 episodes, but I worked on this in one go, and so that was always the plan. And basically you are totally right, so don't get me wrong, to have just wood on the bottom part of the building in a time where you couldn't be conserving it as good as you can do it today, and even today it wouldn't be the best of ideas to just build out of wood and then have stone on the second floor. I mean, if you build a building just out of wood, it's fine then, I guess, but if you have stone, which is weighting a lot more, that wouldn't be the best idea. But anyways, you can see I did fix that, and as I said, it was fully intentional to do this later on either way. So good comment, but I'm very happy to be the one now to answer your comment with I have done it already. So then we have another one. Why did I even click on the comment? I don't need to. But it is from What the Hexadecimal. Or decimal? Yeah, I guess it's what you would call this in English. Hey Rudi, I don't know nearly as much as you or the others commenting, but I know religion was a huge part of these periods. It basically is the reasoning behind the Dark Ages. I was wondering if you'd build a church of some sort. Favorite episode so far. I love that you're now really getting into the path and direction. Looking forward to more. Thanks for your comment. And even though if you state you don't know that much, you mentioned already a very important part. I talked about that a little bit in the first episode already. So the idea about this little fortress is that it is mainly a fortress which is around a little castle. Not that big of a castle, it's more like a little fort in that kind of sense, with a watchtower which has been changed into some sort of castle. I mean, castle in itself is a kind of problematic word, because defining a castle is pretty much harder than you would guess. So it is a kind of building that is built to be very defense and oriented, and can be house a lot of people and also your family, and can be lived in, but also saves you from your opponents and from your enemies, and also is located on strategically clever points. If you don't take, for example, an old watchtower and just change it, even though if you would take an old watchtower and change it, you would choose that old watchtower to be in a very good position. But in the end, I mean, if we talk about castles, we do have some pictures in our heads of big, shiny, cool castles of the medieval time, or even, for example, Neuschwanstein or something like that. So, you know, that there is always the idea behind that it has to be a very big, shiny castle. But castle in itself can also be a rather small, very nicely defensed building that's also just located on top side of a little hill, so which it will be in this little area. And now to come back to the point of the religion, there is always like two sides of the medal. The first side is like, if you have this kind of little village which is constructed around a castle, that means that the castle is in focus, and you know, it doesn't really mean that you will have a big church around them. Though then we have the other story, which is the other side of the medal, that there is obviously there are a lot of cities that have been developed around churches, and you know, from the medieval time, it turned out that they are now very big cities all around the world. Like if you take, for example, Paris or Cologne, these are two cities that have been already pretty strong in the medieval time, but they've been developed surely around religious buildings, right? The cathedral, or both of them, having those very well-known cathedrals in their, well, middle of the town, so to say, and so the cities just developed around it. And so you obviously have cities where you have castles around and stuff, which you will see probably more often in the south of Europe, where you will have a lot of towns, especially in the Mediterranean area, where like most of the islands and stuff are more like built around castles and developed around castles. So all in all, this is just a little explanation why the focus of this area is basically about this little town, and also the little castle thingy we will have on top of the little hill, which you can see in the background. But yeah, back to the point of religion again. I will definitely have a little chapel in here, and this will be also featuring in the next episode. And the cool thing about this is that with the announcement of the DLC and with the announcement of glass, I am safe to say we will experiment a lot with glass and gemstones to get this really medieval looking windows, the colored windows. I've no clue yet how the glass will behave, if we can recolor the glass and stuff, but yeah, we will probably try and go and for the best result we can get in the end, by just having these little things, and obviously glass and the little chapel. But yeah, no church or no cathedral either way, but we will have definitely a little, as I said, chapel in this little town. But anyways, as you can see now, and now I want to talk a tiny little bit more about what I built in this episode, and let me quickly check if I can read out some more comments. Oh yeah, there's one good one I wanted to go back to. From White Rabbit again. I think I've actually seen someone building a maze using the vista point, but I can't remember who it was. It might work in a way. It might be worth a try. I mean, I don't know your plans exactly, but I tend to really enjoy labyrinths that are more than just hedges and are properly themed. Maybe we are going to do this in a kind of different series, or just try around a little bit more, or we will definitely try this in a special episode or even in a stream. But good to know that someone already tried it, so maybe I can find this one and ask him how that worked. But anyways, he also said, also I'm not missing an H in his name. That's what I was guessing last episode. I picked this name on purpose and for the very reason to be different from just White Rabbit. Basically, it's supposed to represent that my avatar is a bit crazy and not right in its head. There's a whole backstory to it, but I won't bore you with the details. I love backstories to names, honestly. Like my name, for example, if you take my name, it's also a huge story around this one. I don't know if I talked too much about this already, but you know, the name itself is a result of a very, let's call it, funny evening where we drank a tiny little bit too much milk. And the thing about this is that, it was just a very funny moment, which brought me and my girlfriend into the position that we started to love camels in general. That wasn't the start of the name, though. That was basically a lot later, I guess. I had a weird idea to make an app, kind of a little game where I was like searching for a name, and basically the name I came up with was Rennkamel, because I was going for a German one, which basically means, translated in English, the running camel, or run camel, but that doesn't make sense because it doesn't work in English, so it's the running camel. So all in all, I came up with the idea to make this little app or game or whatever, but once talking to my mate who I was trying to do this with, we figured that Rennkamel is kind of a bad name for it, even in German. But if we wanted to release that on an app store, which basically means that it's international, we kind of needed a more easy name, and so we said, okay, let's give it a surname, and we came up with or a first name, I should say, and we came up with Rudi, and this is basically how the name was developed, and I kept it all the way along for this weird idea, and I saved the YouTube channel with it. That never happened. We never continued, or we never got that far, basically because we were missing a programmer. So like still everything is done, like the whole game is already scripted, not scripted in the way of actually programmed, it's scripted in the way of what you can do and stuff, and idea is fully finished, and you know, also all the graphics are done, and a lot of graphics are borrowed, which I use are borrowed from the game, but yeah, all in all, it never came to an end, and I had this channel just secured. Like I never did anything with it, but it was just there. And when I was asked back then to make a video of my first Space Mountain just 2 years ago, I chose to use this channel rather than my private one. And yeah, from this point on, things exploded and just went crazy. And yeah, this is where we are at the moment. I actually didn't want to tell this story, but yeah, well, now I have. So for those of you really listening to the commentary, there you go, you have the backstory of my name. And thank you, White Rabbit, you were the one to make me talk about this. Thank you. Not gonna lie, this annoys me. No, I'm just kidding. But as you can see now, I was already doing some little dormers already over here. This week was also planned already. I wanted to make some more dormers in the beginning, but then I said, okay, I just want to make the buildings finished first to have a very nice look to it. And you can see already what I'm going for. I am changing some of the colors slightly, which is already the beginning to make it all a little bit more dirty and weathered and stuff. We will go into this a lot more in the end. As you can see, I'm also placing some wooden planks on top of it, just to make it look a little bit more broken and fixed, and you know, having those planks on it like little spots you would put on to save them. But anyways, yeah, you have seen already at the beginning of this episode in the background, I made those two buildings in the center more or less of this little town ready with the little tavern thing. But as I said last episode, this is not really the tavern we are going for. We will have an actual one. We will also have a basement. We will have kind of a canalization thingy going on, and a prison, something like that. And I guess, you know, a whole lot of things we still missing in terms of a really nice and realistic medieval town or village. It's more like it's a very small town. I don't know. It's a fortress, right? It's not more than this. Anyways, it just takes a little bit of time now, but we are going towards a good point, I guess, in the end. But as you can see here, I'm preparing now a custom support for this area, because you have seen that the track is going quite narrowly through the whole city and the whole town, the whole streets, and I wanted to place down some medieval looking custom supports. That's what I wanted to say. And I came up with this little design, which I will be changing in a few seconds again. Also with these little screws. I mean, it doesn't make sense because you don't really see those screws, but I just found it interesting to experiment with the little candy canes to make it actually look like there would be screws going into the track that would fix it. Like, if you watched the episode, you know that I really cared for it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just did. And here we are at the end of the episode, guys. Tomorrow it will be the big release of the DLC. We will have a video about that. But until then, I hope you liked that episode. Don't forget to leave a comment down below if you liked the video. If you have to say anything, just, you know, give me your feedback. And as always, if you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button. You can also subscribe if you like the content. Make sure to subscribe because it helps. Then you will see that I have new content. And for all the others, I always forgot to talk about this, but it's very important that you guys activate the bell, the little bell on my YouTube side. So if you're on my channel, on the channel page, on the right hand side, there is a little bell. If you didn't activate that bell, you won't get notifications about my videos once they're up. YouTube changed that a while ago, but I know that not everybody knows it to date, and I just wanted to say this again. But anyways, have a good one, guys. See you and talk to you tomorrow, and have a good one. Bye bye.